It's time to tell you about the books I've been reading recently. Summer so far has been about thrillers and horror for me. I have picked up a good amount of thrillers. Maybe not the best thing for my average ratings for the year, but I have been having a great time with some of the mystery thrillers that have released so far this year. I feel like I should point out that I moved recently. I moved unexpectedly. The place is in chaos. So I'm just sitting on the floor in front of my messy bookshelf, surrounded by boxes. I don't feel like unpacking right this second. I feel like chatting about books. So the first book I'm going to talk about is The Ghostwriter by Jewell Clark. This is my second Jewell Clark book that I've read, and I gave this one 3 stars. I really enjoyed it from the beginning. So this book is following a woman whose father is a famous author. I think he's pretty much Stephen King. He's like a horror legend. He has hired her as a ghostwriter to write his memoir. And that's especially interesting because he has been suspected of killing his own siblings when he was younger. So there's a lot of mystery surrounding that, especially now that he's a famous horror author. And she has not spoken to him in years and years. They have a bad relationship from a previous fallout, and she really needs some money, so she takes a job anyways. So we're following this woman back in her hometown, back interacting with her dad, who's now older and his health has declined, and she's trying to help him write this book, as well as uncovering the truth from his past to learn her own family's history. So this book was a good time. I really liked the mystery of it. I really liked finding out what happened and the trickle of information we received. But overall, once I got the full story of the present day and the past mystery, I just didn't love it as much. Like, it wasn't fun anymore. And I felt the same way about Jewell Clark's last book. Like, I was really sucked in with the mystery, but then some of it's kind of like sad. And I feel like that's why Jewell Clark's a great thriller author. For some people, they're looking for an emotional thriller. I personally am not looking for it as much. I don't enjoy those as much. I'm really here for the thrills and like gimmicks, honestly. But it was still pretty good. Just my enjoyment level was a 3. I think it's a really good book though. This is in a thriller vlog that I haven't posted yet. So a few of these are in vlogs, some posted, some not. I have multiple reading vlogs that I started in the old apartment. Kind of unexpectedly decided to move. Some of these books are in reading vlogs that haven't come out yet, so hopefully you'll still be interested if you already know what I think about the books. Then I picked up the new Riley Sager book, With a Vengeance. This one is a lot different than Riley Sager's other books. It's set in the 50s, I think, on a train, and a woman has gathered a bunch of people onto this train because she is seeking vengeance against the people who have destroyed her family. But while all these people are gathered, people start dying. So it's like Agatha Christie inspired, in the 50s, a weird scenario, just not Riley Sager's usual format, and not a format that I think went very well. It was chaotic. There was twist upon twist upon twist, but to a point where I was like, I don't even know what's happening. Things would happen, but then they didn't really happen, but actually, yes, they did happen. Like, he's doing too much. I didn't have a good time. It was like, it was kind of fun, but also just silly. So another 3-star thriller. The thing about thrillers is sometimes I just have a great time reading them, even if they turn out to be 3 stars. So I'm still not upset that I read them. I still had a good time. It just wasn't as good as a time as I wish I would have had. But then I picked up King of Ashes by S.A. Cosby, and this one was a better time. So this book is following a man who goes back to his hometown in Virginia after his father gets in a hit and run accident. He's in the hospital, and we are finding out if there is more to it than just a hit and run, and things that his brother has gotten involved with that has kind of put their family in danger. We also have a mystery from his past because his mother disappeared many years ago, and people in the town suspect that his father murdered his mother. So Roman, our main character, he's a complex character. He has a lot of like issues stemming from his childhood that we're finding out about. And then present day, he is trying to save his family. And most of this book is actually involving a gang. So it's not like a typical murder mystery thriller or like a whodunit domestic thriller. A lot of it is like gang related activity, but it's pretty good. I really enjoyed it. I still like All the Sinners Bleed Better, which is another book that he wrote. But this one was still a good time, and it's a little different if you're looking to get outside of domestic thrillers or like crime-centered detective thrillers. This still has that like exciting, suspenseful element while involving like a different sort of storyline. So highly recommend this one. Since my apartment is in shambles, if I couldn't find these books within 2 minutes, I'm just going to put a picture on the screen. But I did read The Long Walk by Stephen King, and I made a video where I had to read the whole book in a day and I could only read while walking. And I thought it was such a good time. Like, that's one of my favorite vlogs that I've done. It was exhausting, but a lot of fun. So The Long Walk by Stephen King, if you don't know, there's a movie coming out soon, but it is following a group of boys who've signed up for this competition where you can win a big prize if you are the last one standing. So 100 boys go on this long walk where they are monitored because they have to keep walking at a pace of 4 miles per hour. And if they stop walking for long enough, they will be killed. So to be the last one standing, the 99 other boys have to die. And now that I've read it and researched more about it and found out like what it represented and stuff, makes it all the more interesting. But just that basic dystopian premises is also interesting and entertaining to read. So we're seeing like a glimpse of the outside world's interpretation of events, you know, the people who love it, the people who don't like it, the people who are afraid for the boys, but the people who are like, oh, this is the best thing, and they're like entertained by this story. It's just very interesting to see, but also our limited scope on the world is so interesting, which makes sense to me now. But while I was reading it, I kind of wished I had a little more information, but still it's very interesting seeing how the boys turn out, seeing how they interact with each other, and they still support each other even though only one of them is going to survive. They're still like befriending each other, and it's really sad and it's really powerful. It's very addicting to read. I had an even better time because I was challenging myself to walk the entire time, and I think that made it all the more special for my own personal reading experience. I was able to participate in Summerween, which is a readathon. I decided to read all horror books for a week. If You Could See Me Now by Peter Straub. This one follows a man going back to his hometown once again. And when he was younger, he made out with his cousin and then something bad happened. I know, but I cannot think about this book without thinking about him making out with his cousin. So just, you've been warned. But in this book, we are finding out what happened in his childhood. So in his hometown, now that he's an adult, a lot of the people in his town do not like him, and we're not sure why. And then also there's an active serial killer in town. So teenage girls are getting murdered. Obviously, the town's trying to figure out why. Some people suspect our main character of doing it. And then we're also following our main character as he prepares to meet back up with his cousin that he made out with when he was a teenager. So they had made a pact that in 20 years they would like meet up again. So the book is weird. I really, really love Peter Straub's writing. I don't love where the story went. I don't love some of the things that happen in here, but I really like his writing. It was very readable. I was very interested. His characters are weird, and also his characters' motivations are interesting. I just didn't think this story worked for me, but I definitely am going to pick up more Peter Straub because I'm just so intrigued on like once he writes one where the horror works for me plus his writing. Oh, I'm gonna be so excited. I have read Ghost Story by him, and that one was good. I gave it 4 stars. This one I think I gave, was it 3 stars? Maybe 2.5. But if you have like a scary Peter Straub recommendation, let me know. The Fisherman by John Langan. This one I've been excited for a bit because I've seen authors say that this is the scariest book they've read. This one follows a man who is a widow, and a man at his work also has recently become widowed, and his wife and 2 children died, and he's obviously in a bad way. So our main character, who has went through grief himself and picked up fishing to help deal with his grief and like to help him move on in life, he invites his coworker to go fishing, and they kind of become fishing pals. And then one day his coworker asks if they can go to a new fishing spot. The way he's telling how he found out about this fishing spot, he just seems to be lying. And then on the way to fishing, they stop at a diner where the chef there tells them a story about this fishing spot that they're going to. So it's a really long story. It takes up about half the book. We're flipping back to the 1800s or early 1900s to learn about some spooky stuff that happened, that eventually this area turned into the fishing spot that they're going to. So like some paranormal, spooky horror stuff. Once that story is complete, we then follow our men as they go to that fishing spot, and some crazy stuff goes down. I liked the idea of it. I think I enjoyed the early 1900s story better than the present day story. And unfortunately, I was not so scared. I was picking these books up trying to scare myself, and I was not scaring myself, which was unfortunate. The scariest part was definitely at the end. You kind of know from the very beginning that something really bad happens when they go fishing there, but then seeing after that, like finding out what happened next, that was pretty interesting. But I wanted to be scared. I don't know if it's just hard for me to be scared from books, but I'm still looking for like a horror book to scare my pants off. I also picked up The Possession by Michael Rutger. This is book 2 in a series, but barely at all mentions book 1 or the crazy things that happened in it. I read the first book, The Anomaly, years ago, loved it. That actually was scary. And this is book 2 in the Anomaly Files. So the Anomaly Files is this documentary on YouTube, and our group here does like Bigfoot investigations and Yetis, I don't know, like fake mythical creature investigations. And in book 1, they definitely encountered some real scary horrors. And now in book 2, they're going to this small town where there are these weird walls that might have some creepy stuff going on. But really our main character, Nolan, is there because his ex-wife is there investigating a missing girl. So both of those things end up being the main focus in this spooky little town. It has a mix of spooky and humor, and something about it felt very Scooby-Doo to me. Like, I did enjoy it, but it ended up being another 3-star. It definitely had like some positives. It had some things that I really enjoyed, but by the end, I wasn't scared. I thought it was kind of goofy, and I didn't feel connected to the characters very much. And also, this is barely about a possession, and there's definitely no circumstance of a couch on the ceiling, so that's unfortunate. And then I got back into some more new release thrillers, so this is another vlog. Don't Let Him In by Lisa Jewell. I really enjoy Lisa Jewell books. There's something about them that is dark, but not too dark for me, but it's about as dark as I can go with a thriller, and somehow I just keep turning the pages when I read a Lisa Jewell book. This one, however, was not as good as the others. This one is quite a different format, so we're following a man in multiple different timelines as he bamboozles women. So think like Tinder swindler. He's like making women fall in love with him. He's so charming, so perfect, but he's then like leaving them, he's cheating on them, he's faking his own death. He's a very dramatic man, and he blames them for everything, and he thinks what he's doing honestly isn't that bad, but he's a horrible person. And the reason this didn't work for me is just it felt so repetitive. Like we're literally seeing the same man swindle all these different women in a similar way, and it kind of got boring. I definitely believe this type of man exists, but he was just not who I wanted to be spending my time with, and made me hate men in general because he is just such a bad person and doesn't even realize he sucks. So it was okay. 3 stars once again. And actually all 3 of these are thriller authors that I've read a bunch of times. So then I actually had to go see Meg and Miranda the day after this book released, You Belong Here. And this one was really good. I love Meg and Miranda books because they are atmospheric and they keep me turning the page once again. That's why I love thrillers, because I get sucked in. So this one, we're following a woman who's dropping her daughter off at college, but it's the college that she herself attended when she was younger that she then had to leave for certain reasons. So we're finding out those reasons, the reasons that she left that school, the big drama, the things tied to her name now that she's back in town. And then there's also present day mystery going on with her daughter at the school. She has a very strained relationship with her parents, and we're seeing the relationship between her and her daughter, and like her seeing her daughter as an adult and what that means now. It's very entertaining. I just love the atmosphere so much, just like in all of her books. They're either in the mountains, at the beach, it rains all the time, things like that. So always very atmospheric settings. And then always a mystery that I just need to know what happens next. She sprinkles reveals throughout the plot, which keeps me entertained. And I'm giving this one like 4 and some change once again. It doesn't feel like a 5-star. I'm never like impressed by who done it. I'm never impressed with the overall plot once I see it all, but I really enjoyed the experience of reading her books. And then lastly, I picked up the new Shari Lapena. Is it Lapena? I don't know. There's no tilde over the end, but this one follows actually a lot of different people. But our central mystery is a woman goes missing from her apartment while she's working from home, and she's gone, and the police are investigating to find out where she went. We are suspicious of her husband, suspicious of lots of different characters. There's a creepy man down the hall with a dark past. There are affairs. There are different little mysteries. Her sister is deep in like true crime. This book was not great. I've loved a lot of Shari Lapena's books, but this one, although it was very entertaining, felt very shallow, especially after having just read a Miranda book who has a lot of depth and emotion and character growth. But this one had a lot of caricatures instead of characters, and it just wasn't the best. I don't even have much to say about it. I gave it 3 stars, and it'll be in a reading vlog coming to you soon. But those are all the books that I've read recently. Let me know what you've been picking up recently, and I look forward to reading some more books soon and sharing them with you and posting all these vlogs that I started in July. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.